many said that the Seattle Supersonics were taking a big gamble on someone who had only played high school ball. But the 6-year deal they gave to Kemp is proving out that he is the real thing. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Garden. Another strong test for the New York Knicks tonight at the NBA's only undefeated team at home with an 8-0 record. We'll have lots more to talk about later on the Seattle Supersonics team, which is athletic, exciting, and loves to run. As for Pat Riley and the Knicks, bad news for some, as Riley has decided that the 5 starters, Mason, Starks, and Anthony, comprise what he will use as an 8-man rotation. And as Pat Riley discusses his new plan, he understands the frustration the others will feel.
I think you have to come to a decision, and it may be unfair to a couple of players, you know, because we do have players who have produced and can perform. You know, Tony's had some great moments for us. Hubert Davis, obviously, is a player that has a lot of potential, and but I think you have to get to a real set rotation to give a certain amount of guys the same time every night to see if your team can become more efficient. Otherwise, I think you're going to be picking and choosing all year long, and just drives everybody nuts. So, you know, we're going to play 8.5, 9 guys, and you know, Hubert and Tony are going to play again, but right now they're not going to be in the rotation.
Pat Riley's benching of the 3 key players that'll make up the rotation off the bench more than 2 weeks ago really has gotten the desired effect as Anthony Mason and Greg Anthony both look inside. No better evidence of that than after big win Saturday against the Bucks. Greg Anthony was sitting in the locker room still unhappy with where he was coming from.
Personally, it's just, you know, I just got to get back into, you know, my love for the game. Right now, I just don't have a lot of enthusiasm because I'm not playing as well as I would like. But, you know, it's something you have to go through, I guess, throughout the course of the season. It's a long season. You're going to have your peaks and valleys. So just got to try to collect myself and try and endure and persevere through the, you know, the hard times, which is kind of like what I'm going through right now.
You know, an observer would look at the way you run the team. Pat Riley uses your spark to sort of change the tempo of the game to, in contrast to Doc Rivers, and yet you're not happy in what aspect? What's not there?
Well, you know, it's just it. I mean, I want to be more of a complete player, not just, you know, a spark plug. I want to be able to be consistent throughout the game. I want to be able to play, you know, the type of minutes, whereas, you know, you can put up some type of productive numbers and be more of a, you know, a cog in the system, in the wheel, so to speak. So, you know, it's just been real tough.
Well, the Knicks have spent so far this season a large part of their time trying to solve their offensive problems, trying to win on the road, and waiting for Charles Smith to get in shape. He is, and now as a starter, he is giving Pat Riley 16 points a game. Saturday was one of his better outings. At the Garden and the big win over the Milwaukee Bucks, the Knicks set the tone from the very beginning. The offense was clicking, and Charles Smith, starting in his 3rd game, was a big part of that. He was active inside and out, shooting in the end 7 of 12 for 23 points and 8 rebounds. Then there was the fact that Smith almost led the team in assists, with 6, his career high. Look at this. Look to Doc Rivers. That doesn't surprise Pat Riley at all.
He knew he had a lot of, you know, great skills, and you know, at the small forward, he has an opportunity to handle the ball a little bit more, and I think the whole team, you know, played extremely well from that standpoint in our last game because the ball did move, but he has the ability to see the floor.
If he could have done that a little bit more in L.A., I might have been on All-Star team or something.
I was out there for 40 minutes, and I was able to get into the flow. I was very relaxed, and I just let things happen for themselves. If something was open, you know, you just take advantage of it.
By Anthony Mason, who in 30 minutes had 25 points and 10 rebounds. The new expanded repertoire was on full display. Anthony Mason with the best game he's ever had in the NBA. Yet another happy chapter in the story of a New York City man basically told to forget it, in effect saying now, yeah, forget this. Anthony Mason's performance on Saturday, part of a Knicks victory over Milwaukee, that was big.
A couple of years ago, I didn't really think I'd be in this league. You know, I always thought optimistically, but I didn't know that I would make such a big impact in the league. So I guess a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have thought so.
Played a great game. He had a lot of very positive numbers, but we still want Mace to step up and help more defensively. You know, so even though his numbers were very illustrious numbers, we always find something in his game to say, hey, you know, you can still do this to become more of a complete player, and he understands that.
Next topic, the Alamo scouting reports. The Knicks already know how good the Seattle Supersonics can be. Their most recent game was Saturday night when they dismantled the Minnesota T-Wolves by 37 points. They've won 3 games in a row and tonight embark on a 3-game road trip where most teams know that that's where you prove yourself in the NBA. But nothing left to prove as far as this season goes already in the Pacific Division, where the Sonics under George Karl are tied with Portland and a record of 11-4. A large part of this team is offense, and it's well distributed. Shawn Kemp leads a group of 7 players who average double figures for the Seattle Supersonics team. And in Shawn Kemp tonight, you'll be seeing a player who has quickly established himself as one of the most exciting, explosive, entertaining players in the NBA. In a few minutes on game night, as we continue, Bruce Beck will have a full look at this player who we'll see tonight at the Garden. Now, Eddie Johnson has been part of many teams in the NBA. He is the player that the Seattle Supersonics got for Xavier McDaniel. He has been giving it to the Seattle Supersonics and George Karl off the bench. No one knows that better than the New York Knicks. Yes, Ken Griffey Jr. was there on that horrible 3-game swing out west. Eddie Johnson with a running one-hander. He came off the bench to kill the Knicks with 28, turning a 1-point game at halftime to a Sonics advantage. There's Shawn Kemp showing you something to look forward to tonight. He had 22, one of 3 bad experiences on that forgettable western swing for Pat Riley. Well, as I said, when we come back on Knicks game night, we will be switching gears and handing it over to Bruce Beck, who will discuss Shawn Kemp with us. And Shawn Kemp is here impressing some of the younger citizens in New York, as you'll see.
Knicks game night. Come on inside. I want to take you into a very special room. This is the high school team known as Grady. 2 years ago, city and state champions, and extremely proud of one of the Knicks, Rolando Blackman, who calls this school his alma mater. Tonight they beat Tilden, and quite decidedly, wouldn't you say, guys? Now, the buzz in this locker room a little while ago was that they wanted to see 2 players, and one of them was, help me here. Yeah, they love Anthony Mason. He's one of the city guys who's been doing great. But there was one other player that you really wanted to see, right? Shawn Kemp! Yeah, this guy, Shawn Kemp, is emerging into the newest star in the NBA, and Bruce Beck has a very special look. And when you look at the impact that a player like Shawn Kemp has on a group of players like this, you really know how important it is.
Allie's only 23 years of age. He grew 13 inches between 8th and 10th grades. He's one of the few players in the NBA who has ever gone straight from the high school ranks to the pros, and right now he's one of the most explosive players in the NBA. He is coming of age, all of him. 6 foot 10 inches, 245 pounds worth. At age 23, Shawn Kemp of Seattle is becoming a force. Kemp never played college ball. He sat out a year after high school and then declared himself eligible for the NBA draft. Now in his 4th season, Kemp is a dominant force on the inside, a tower of strength near the basket. A participant in the slam dunk contest the past 3 years, he's constantly working on new gravity-defying moves. A hired hand in the past, Kemp is now the center of attention, the #1 gun for Seattle.
Now, you know, the team's is focused around me, so the teams come out and their first option is to stop me from scoring and try to stop me from rebounding. So, you know, in one way, I think it opens a lot of things up for my teammates. You know, opens the jump shot up for Dana, and Gary's been playing well. So, you know, when the double team comes, we're reacting very well to it.
The thing I love about Shawn more than anything else is he's a winner, and he wants to win. When he walks on the floor, he has a very, very little bit of self-desire.
Kemp will spend his Kemp signed a 6-year contract in September of 1989. The fans in the Pacific Northwest are excited about him, and so are his teammates, who oftentimes marvel at the things Kemp does on a basketball court. Prime example, veteran Michael Cage.
People see flashes of Shawn out there on the court. I see him every day in practice, and the guy is phenomenal. And I think that, you know, what you see him doing out there, that's an everyday Shawn Kemp. The alley-oops, you know, the dunking the ball over people, the offensive threat he is on both ends of the floor, blocking, making a great block shot. That's a day's work.
Fantastic to have an opportunity to coach a star. I've never had a big-time star talent that has the makeup and character that Shawn has off the floor. And it's just a great honor. You know, I look at it almost as an honor to be a little bit a part of what he's going to become and be a part of what the city of Seattle is going to have the opportunity to witness, because he's going to be an all-star.
Kemp second round of the playoffs last year. Against Golden State, Sean was simply monstrous. He averaged 22 points and 16 rebounds in the 4-game series, which Seattle won 3-1. His totals off the boards were simply mind-boggling. 25 offensive rebounds, 65 boards overall. But Kemp and Seattle's magic ran out in the next round against Utah. The Jazz won to advance to the Western Conference Finals 4-1. It was a case of too much Carl the Mailman Malone. This season, the Sonics and Sean Kemp are soaring once again. Currently 11-4 and tied for first in the Pacific Division. Still, Coach George Karl's prized pupil is concerned about the team's chemistry.
We have to develop a better team concept of sharing the ball and running the plays and extending our defense and trapping and doing different things. So I would say right now that, you know, we're happy, but we're not really happy on the way that we play so far.
There's a long way to go, and building our foundation, building our confidence, building our commitment. I think, you know, you do that through confrontation. You do that through competition. You do that through discipline and commitment. And the stronger we get, the better we'll be in the playoffs.
And the better Kemp gets, the better chance Seattle has of becoming a contender for the crown when the playoffs roll around this spring.
Anthony draws two. That leaves Mason open, but Shackelford lets him slide by. And Anthony Mason fired up.
American Soundcraft now has the car audio equipment everyone's talking about, the Eclipse digital sound processor. What's the SP? Imagine taking a studio-recorded CD and duplicating the sound and feel of a stadium, a club, a cathedral, or a concert hall, all with the touch of a button in your car. You'll feel like you're really there. Our reputation is built on technical perfection and authorized dealer service.
Panasonic AM/FM digital cassette, only $129.95. Call American Soundcraft today for a consultation.
Where does Santa get the best prices on jewelry for gifts?
Rodeo Drive.
Santa won't overpay.
The Champs-Elysees.
Not with the import taxes.
I know, New York's Diamond District.
Wrong. Tri-County and Levittown.
Levittown?
Tri-County Jewelry Exchange has the largest selection of jewelry in more than 100 dealers. With over $30 million in merchandise, come in for the best selection, savings, and service. We offer a special holiday refund policy, layaway, and accept most major credit cards. Marathon hours till 10 p.m. daily. Tri-County, your holiday shopping headquarters.
Introducing ProScan, a new kind of TV that will take your senses for the ride of their life. To put it simply, ProScan has sound so real, you can feel it. And a picture so incredible, you can taste it.
Land filled with wonder, the land of elegant ladies and handsome gentlemen. Your children frolicked in the snow, the land filled with the most precious faces that glowed with happiness and warmth. The land of villages filled with Dickens, of animals shimmering with delight, and music that filled the heart with joy. You can visit all these wonderful lands and find perfect gifts for every occasion at the limited edition Sunrise Highway in Merritt. Presents for everyone on your list, gift wrapped free, of course.
Inside with Pride is brought to you by the Discover Card. It pays to discover, the card that pays you back.
We begin on Inside with Pride. And Tony Campbell. They are not part of the Chosen Eight. As Riley has decided, it's an 8-man rotation as Walt Frazier joins me at courtside. Now, clearly, Clyde, this is not the philosophy that all coaches live by. Not every coach believes that it should be an 8-man rotation. But what is it exactly that using those 8 men as the core would bring to the Knicks?
Well, in essence, it has given Rolando Blackman and Charles Smith an opportunity to play more minutes, and they have produced. So Davis, I think it's harder on Davis because being a rookie, he has to go through this type of vicissitudes, whereas Campbell, he's been traded, he's been to other teams. It's not as crucial for him, but right now I think Hubert Davis is having problems.
Yeah, and those vicissitudes can be very, very tough to take. Let's start it out with how the players react. First, Tony Campbell. Coach decides what goes on. I have no control over that, whether I'm happy or not. This is a team thing. I have no power, but I have to feel that things are going to get better. Hubert Davis has said that he's had tough practices lately and has had difficulty focusing. He also said, I want to play, but I understand that Rolando Blackman and John Starks are better than me right now. I have to take it that way. I'm a rookie and just keep improving. Now, Walt, the players who are on the outs, how do they feel? I mean, it's tough for them to get back if they don't get the minutes and if they know that only practice can bring it back for them.
Yeah, I think what this does, it makes the Knicks more competitive. The practices are going to be more difficult because guys want to get playing minutes. So overall, I think it's a good thing for the team rather than a detrimental one. And you can see from those quotes from the players, they believe in the team concept.
Quickly, do you think this will work out?
I think so. If not, it's still early in the season. As Campbell mentioned, there's time for him to get back into the rotation.
All right, that'll do it for this portion of Knicks Game Night. However, the NBA will continue to be the topic. When we come back, Bob Page will explore with Kenny Anderson the story of recent Nets success.
The New York Knicks and the Seattle Supersonics about to meet for the second time this season. In mid-November in Seattle, the Sonics won by the score of 100-90. Led by Eddie Johnson, came off the bench, 28 points, 27 minutes. Right here, a look at the Hertz starting lineups as we pick it up on the public address.
Hayton. At guard, at 6'4" from right, number 22, Ricky Pierce. At forward, at 6'10" from Alabama, number 31, co-captain Derek McKee. At forward, at 6'10" from Trinity Junior College, number 40, Sean Kemp. And at center, at 7 feet from Creighton, number 0, Benoit Benjamin. The trainer is Frank Bertano. Assistant coaches Bob Kloppenberg, Tim Gregorich, Mark Markentine, and Terry Scott. And the head coach, George Carl. And now, please welcome your New York Knicks. At guard at 6'6" from Kansas State, number 20, Rolando Blackman. At guard at 6'4" from Marquette, number 25, Doc Rivers. At forward at 6'10" from Pittsburgh, number 54, Charles Smith. At forward at 6'9" from Virginia Union, number 34, co-captain Charles Oakley. And at center at 7 feet from Georgetown, number 33, co-captain Patrick Ewing. The head trainer is Mike Saunders, assistant trainer Tibble. Assistant coaches Dick Harder and Jeff Van Gundy. And head coach for the Knicks, Pat Riley.
Earlier we talked about Pat Riley coming to terms with a set 8-man rotation. He feels more comfortable with a set 8, which obviously leaves people out of the mix. And we did discuss that with Pat Riley.
I think you have to come to a decision, and it may be unfair to a couple of players, you know, because we do have players who have produced and can perform. You know, Tony's had some great moments for us. Hubert Davis, obviously, is a player that has a lot of potential, and but I think you have to get to a real set rotation to give a certain amount of guys the same time every night to see if your team can become more efficient. Otherwise, I think you're going to be picking and choosing all year long, and just drives everybody nuts. So, you know, we're going to play 8.5, 9 guys, and, you know, Hubert and Tony are going to play again, but right now they're not going to be in the rotation.
And Pat Riley is going with the same starting lineup with Ewing up front along with Smith and Oakley, Rivers and Blackman in the backcourt. And the overhead shot you just saw brought to you by the Upper Deck Company. Nobody does basketball like Upper Deck. The Sonics in their green, yellow, and white uniforms controlling the opening tip. Ricky Pierce, who did not face the Knicks in the game in Seattle, getting it back out to Payton. Nice move by Payton, kind of a teardrop out of the pages of Mark Jackson. The officials, Jack Madden, David Jones, Ron Alesiak, and the Knicks to the offense for the first time. Rivers being guarded by Payton. Smith being handled by McKee. Here's Blackman on the one bounce to Ewing, and he's fouled. That was a mismatch as Benjamin came out to help out, and looked like Ewing hurt his shoulder. John, speak up. No, apparently problems with the mic. You know what? We'll get back to you later on this first quarter. Want to try it again? Okay. Bad audio, John, and I know you had a point that you want to express. We'll get back to that later. Patrick Ewing with the Knicks' first point of the evening. So the game is tied at 2. The Seattle Supersonics with a record of 11-4. They're tied for first with Portland in the Pacific Division. This is game 1 of a 4-game road trip within a 5-day period. And it is Gary Payton giving the Sonics a 4-2 lead. Let's try it again, John.
As I was saying,
there
those
he is.
Milwaukee Bucks looked great the other day.
Yes, that was a... I'm sorry we missed that point. You know, you sound even more powerful than ever.
Well, you were lonely there for a while. I might have a greater effect on your lonely eardrum.
I could go about a quarter without you. Oakley on the putback. The game is tied at 4.
The new face, in addition to Ricky Pierce, that the Knicks are seeing tonight is Benoit Benjamin, a big fellow who has not bothered Patrick Ewing that much in the past.
Yes, Benoit sat out in that earlier meeting. Here's Pierce for 3. And Rivers able to handle the rebound. In the Sonics last game Saturday night, they walloped Minnesota by 37 points. Their 3rd straight win. Sonics at 8 men in double figures. 37-point margin, the worst defeat in Minnesota Timberwolves history. That's McKee trying the 3. Here's Benjamin. So Benoit Benjamin able to go last and give Seattle a 6-4 lead.
Best part about that play for Benoit is he got credit for a rebound, and he was flat-footed. Ball fell right into his hands.
Ewing with the spin over Benjamin. Game is tied at 6. Benjamin missed the game against the Knicks in Seattle with a sore left knee. He sat out several. Nate McMillan has been out of the lineup as of late. He's missed the last 7. Kemp on the rebound gets it back out, but McMillan is available for tonight's game. Payton with the step. Nice play. And the Sonics lead 8-6. Nate McMillan with a sore right calf muscle. It's called day-to-day, but he is in uniform and available for tonight. Rivers had it knocked away by Payton. Sonics 8 and the Knicks 6. The Knicks come into tonight's play a half game in front of the Nets, who have won 6 in a row, and they are home tonight for the Phoenix Suns. And the Knicks 1 game over Orlando. 3-second violation call, and the ball goes to Seattle.
Charles Oakley was dug into that 3-point lane. I mean, he was standing there like 3-point violations are news to him. That was surprising. But I should say 3-second violations.
Oakley off the steal. Charles Smith, who had an excellent game against Milwaukee Saturday afternoon, within his repertoire, 6 assists. Ewing will go to the foul line. Benjamin called for the foul.
In that play, Marv, it looked as though Ricky Pierce was doubling down on Patrick Ewing and not quite in Ewing's face. He looked like he was an illegal defender right there, because he wasn't either guarding his man or guarding Ewing. He was kind of hanging out, and he got away with it.
Sonics with a 1-point lead. So the game is tied at 8. Kemp played by Oakley. Here's Kemp with the step. Nice dish off for Benjamin. Beautifully done, and the Sonics lead 10-8. 4 minutes gone by in this first quarter. Rivers.
You know, Marv, I detect early in this game a slight downness in the Knicks' enthusiasm on the court. Milwaukee has Milwaukee. I'm looking at those green uniforms left over from Saturday. The Sonics looked a little more lively on the boards, a little tougher out there, a little more motivated than the Knicks do.
Foul was called on Blackman. They double up on Payton. And away from the ball, Jack Madden with an offensive foul. Illegal screen was set by Pierce, so the Knicks get it back. Sonics 10 and the Knicks 8. Crowd very quiet here at the start.
I think it's rubbed off on the Knicks, and perhaps they can generate some positive play now with Doc Rivers hitting that shot. Sometimes it may take a team a little bit of time to get rolling into the game.
Kemp with his first field goal. Don Kemp came on late in the game in Seattle against the Knicks. Finished with 22 points. Slow start, then came on. Eddie Johnson off the bench was the key man. Derek McKee also excelled. Here's Ewing. Yes. The Knicks and Sonics are tied at 12.
Benjamin has to do more than just be there for Ewing. He's got to extend himself if he's going to bother Patrick.
McKee for three. And it's recovered by Pierce. McKee had it knocked away. Good play by Rivers, caught on a mismatch. And a timeout taken by the Knicks with 6:57 remaining in this first quarter. 12, just under 7 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Here's McKee with the step. He was met by Ewing, who certainly bothered that shot. Low percentage pass thrown by McKee, who says, my fault.
All right, he was.
Yes, the Knicks get it back. Kemp guarding Smith.
Oakley wanting the ball, guarded by the shorter Ricky Pierce. The Knicks can't get it into him.
Pierce for three. Three-pointer by Ricky Pierce. 1 for 4 from three-point range for Seattle. Here's Blackman. The tip missed by Ewing, and a loose ball foul is called. Patrick Ewing called for climbing.
Well, the Knicks have to respect the long-distance shooting of Seattle. They are an excellent three-point shooting team. In fact, they are third best in the NBA right now, making over 40% of their three-point attempts.
And overall, John, Seattle is shooting 49% from the floor. That is the best in the NBA. And that's very impressive when you consider how many three-point shots they take, because that tends to lower the overall percentage. Oakley called for the foul. The Knicks at the other end of the spectrum, shooting only 46%. However, to throw another stat at you, opponents shoot only 42% against the Knicks. That is the best defensive record. Here's Michael Cage, who just checked in, and he was hit on a reach-in. Blackman called for the foul.
That's the serious statistic that coaches recognize and put a lot of credence in, what the opponent shoots from the field. And that 42% shows that the Knicks play serious defense.
Michael Cage to the free throw line in his 9th season out of San Diego State. Spent 4 years with the Los Angeles Clippers. This is 5th with Seattle. John Starks has checked in now, replacing Rolando Blackman, who did not score.
3 games ago, this Sonics team beat Orlando, and the man at the foul line we're looking at, Michael Cage, played a big role in the success that the Sonics had in that game. Shaquille O'Neal had an 11-point game, a very disappointing game. Cage played him well.
Pressure defense being shown by Seattle, and it leads to a deflection. Smith able to get it across. Smith with the pull-up. Yes. Sonics lead 17-14. George Karl likes to throw that pressure on and off, and he did startle the Knicks the first time. Good defense by Smith. They'll jump it up.
Oh, that looked like it went out off Seattle. Looked like it went out off McKee, but Smith did a terrific job creating pressure without committing the foul. Get another look at it. Charles Smith and Ewing working together. That ball looked like it squirted out off McKee.
Anthony Mason has come on for Charles Oakley. Mason coming off the career-high 25 points on Saturday against the Bucks. Ewing had it poked away. Here's Kemp putting it ahead for Payton. Starks with the good hustle. And the Knicks have a 4-on-2. Mason from Rivers. The Knicks trail by 1.
Boy, Mason certainly finds a way working against taller players in close.
Anthony Mason at 55% from the field. He is among the NBA leaders in shooting. Good possession, but Kemp blew the layup. Rebound Ewing. And that's a traveling violation. Ewing put it on the floor, but he's called for the walk and does not like the call.
Well, he would prefer a foul call, I'm sure, feeling that he was nudged into that extra step.
Seattle with a front line of Cage, Kemp, and McKee, Pierce, and Payton in the backcourt. Starks guarding Pierce. They open up that right side. Pierce with a force, and Starks on the ball. Starks lost it, but he's hit on a reach-in by Pierce. Second foul for Pierce, 14th foul on the Sonics. George Karl just got a warning from the official David Jones, and also a delay of game warning on the Sonics.
A coach and a player who makes a play like that feels just because it looks like a foul doesn't mean it is a foul. That's the criticism many times. But when you reach around a player, it's tough to come out the winner.
Ewing with the rebound, but had it knocked away.
Because he dribbled the ball, Mark.
Kept going behind the back and going all the way. Sean Kemp with a spectacular move behind the back dribble and then stuffing it home. Not bad for a 6'10" player.
Sensational.
Sonics by 3. Ewing on the putback. Smith. Yes. Charles Smith showing the deft touch. And for Charles, his second field goal. Steal by Mason. Mason for Starks. Starks tried the reverse, able to recover, but he's called for a travel. The ruling that he caught his own pass, however, Jack Madden says no.
Mark will take another look at the Kemp play behind the back and the slam dunk. We seem to have a continuation play, however, going on this last call.
The officials talking it over as Madden indicated a deflection, and now a timeout is called. 3:29 remaining, first quarter. Sonics by 1.
Holiday greetings from Budweiser.
This is what the top 4 teams win their games by. Seattle, on the average, is winning by over 10 points a game over their opponents. This is the NBA elite. Chicago and Portland are right up there. Phoenix knocking at the door also. A very healthy sign for this Seattle team early in the season. The Knicks, by the way, 4.6 their average win.
Off that changed call a moment ago, it's Nick Ball, and they're able to take advantage. Patrick Ewing laying it home, and the Knicks take a 20-19 lead. We come up to 3 minutes remaining in this first quarter.
No question, Starks and Mason have given the Knicks an injection of energy, which has lifted the Knicks right into this.
Pierce with a wild pass, picked off by Smith, and then he's hit by Cage. So Cage with his first, and the Sonics, like the Knicks, now have 4 team fouls. Greg Anthony has come on for the first time. Anthony and Starks in the backcourt with Mason, Smith, and Ewing up front. And it looks like Gary Payton hurt his hand. And he moves over to the Seattle bench. He'll need some attention. And he's replaced by Nate McMillan. We mentioned McMillan, a player who has missed the last 7 games with a sore right calf muscle, was available and makes his return here. McMillan got a piece of it, and Kemp comes up with it. Eddie Johnson has checked in for the first time for Seattle. Johnson with the ball and fires away. So Eddie Johnson, who supplies instant offense off the bench, wasting little time to get into it.
Such a great, reliable shooter. Eddie Johnson, as you say, Marv, immediately turns into points.
Sonics with a 1-point lead. Smith. Well, Charles Smith showing the entire repertoire of the jump shot. He's done it from in close. Pierce took his eye off the ball and lost it. The Knicks will take over. Charles Smith hitting some nice touch jump shots earlier and then goes medium range. Knicks lead 22-21. That's the 8th turnover committed by Seattle. The Knicks with 6. 2 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Jack Madden makes the call. Ewing hits the floor. Foul called on Cage. It puts Seattle over the foul limit. That is Dana Barros checking in, replacing Ricky Pierce. So leaves with 1 field goal, a 3-pointer, and 2 personal fouls. Dana Barros in his 4th season out of Boston College, coming on for the first time. He, one of the league's most effective from 3-point range. Patrick Ewing, 4 of 4 from the line.
This is the area that Patrick needs to concentrate on in his game. At 64% from the foul line, he's 9 percentage points below last year. And he's a much better foul shooter career-wise than he has shown this year.
Well, off to the good start tonight. 6 for 6 from the line for Ewing. Knicks 24, the Sonics 21. Barros comes off the pick, but Starks right with him. Kemp draws the double team. McMillan slices and gives back to Kemp. Johnson, this time shooting off the mark. Anthony feeding Smith, goes to the whirl, to the jump. A loose ball foul has been called on Seattle. A push on Cage, so that is his 3rd foul.
Well, if you're Charles Smith, this is the move. This is the one you want to go in the hole. Beautiful move. He goes right, spins around. He knows everything's flowing. That's got to go in to make him feel terrific, and it doesn't go in, and he feels it.
Ewing 7 for 7 from the line. The Knicks lead 25-21. Minute and a half to go in this first quarter. Make it 8 out of 8. Well, that'll contribute to improving the free throw shooting. Knicks by 5. The Knicks in the midst of a 14-4 run. McMillan for Cage, being guarded by Ewing. Goes to the spin and a finger roll. Rebound snatched by Smith in traffic. Here is Starks. And the Knicks extend to a 7-point lead.
I mean, McMillan was there, but Starks flew by him.
And the spirited play by the Knicks getting the crowd more involved. They now lead 28-21. Kemp feeling around for Smith. And lost it. Anthony, wild shot. Rebound Mason. A power move on a putback by Anthony Mason.
At 6'10", Kemp was there, as was Eddie Johnson.
Down to a half-minute remaining in this first quarter. Here's Barros, lost it. Last touch on the Knicks. Now Now Derek McKee has checked back in, replacing Michael Cage. Shot clock at 5. And McKee hits. Knicks now lead 30-23. 17 seconds. Now they're resetting the game clock. The indication that 18 seconds remain. Barros all over Anthony as he anticipates the inbounds. Mason looking for help. Starks back. Knicks try to hold to one shot to end this first quarter. We're down to 10 seconds. 5. Ewing from deep. After 1 here at the Garden. Knicks with a good run to close the quarter. And they lead the Sonics by 7.
Give your favorite Knicks fan the Knicks Holiday Hoops Package. A pair of tickets to 5 games, including the Bulls, a Knicks videotape, and a starter T-shirt. For information about this and other second-half mini plans, call 212-465-JUMP.
And we jump to the second quarter here at Madison Square Garden. Knicks with a 30-23 lead on the Seattle Supersonics. A first quarter that featured an 18-4 run in the final minutes for the Knicks. Patrick Ewing, 14 points, 5 rebounds in the opening quarter. Here's Ewing. Yes, and it counts. Nate McMillan at 6'5" got caught on the 7-footer Ewing, and he's called for the foul, so Ewing will go back to the line.
How long it takes an NBA big man to learn to move like this. So simple, but so difficult to execute and get out of the habit of dribbling the ball. Ewing struck McMillan right away most efficiently. Bob, I think Pat Riley's dreams came true in the first quarter. The team was dragging a little bit, slow starting, and he went to the bench rather early and pulled Mason and Starks off the bench, and the game changed in favor of the Knicks.
Well, Ewing had hit his first 8 free throws. Knicks lead 32-23. McMillan and Barros now in the backcourt. McMillan was tripped up. Benoit Benjamin getting set to make his return. Here's Benjamin. Anthony called on that foul. Sean Kemp will sit down, leads with 4 points. So Seattle with McKee up front along with Benjamin and Johnson.
The subject of free throws was a big one when the Knicks played Seattle and Portland. They played back-to-back in November, and Pat Riley made a big fuss about that. 38 free throws in the second half that the Knicks saw the Seattle Supersonics shoot. Tonight, the Knicks seem to be getting the edge in that department early.
But all Ewing, 8 of 9 from the line. Here's Ewing with the jump hook. Anthony missed the tip, and Barros gets to it. How about the Knicks 20 of 21 from the line on Saturday against Milwaukee? That their season best.
One away from a franchise record. Twice in the history of the Knicks franchise, they were 19 of 19.
Herb Williams getting set to come on. The rejection by Smith. Looking for some reaction from the crowd.
Oh, rubber tasting right back by Charles Smith, who looks sharp here tonight.
Herb Williams replacing Patrick Ewing. That's a 24-second violation. So the Knicks in the midst of a good run as the second quarter gets underway. Knicks lead by 7 and in possession.
Now, Marv, wait a minute. When we started this game, Herb Williams was out of the rotation.
Well, a question mark, little asterisk there.
He was the half.
Yeah, depending on matchups, foul situation. Smith off the fake. Goes glass. Charles Smith has 8. And the Knicks with a 9-point lead.
Well, that's making the backboard your friend. Charles Smith knows how to do that.
Johnson with the fake. Try to draw the foul. Eddie Johnson with his second field goal. Knicks 34, Seattle 27. Mason backing McKee with that hesitation dribble.
He took on 4 Sonics. 4 guys converged on him.
Herb Williams called for the loose ball foul. The Knicks hoping to make it 9 out of 9 here at home. They are the only remaining undefeated team at home. However, on the road, 2 up and 6 down. Knicks in the midst of a long home stretch. They'll be here Thursday for Charlotte, Saturday, Detroit. McMillan is off. But on the rusty side after the 7-game layoff. Anthony with a spin, could not finish. And Benjamin could not hold on.
Very nice move by Greg Anthony. No question about his ability to get in close. The other part of it is unresolved. He has difficulty putting the ball in the hole after the end of nice moves like this.
Knicks have the full 24. Williams with Mason and Smith up front. Anthony and Starks in the backcourt. Offensive foul. Mason called for a push. So the ball goes back to the Sonics. Sonics have won 3 in a row. Wins over Orlando, Dallas, and Minnesota. They have won 5 of their last 6. Off to the excellent start. Williams with the rebound.
That's an example where you like to see big men take hook shots. Benjamin takes...
Oh, you're going to start this?
No, but Benjamin takes this spinning fall-away jump shot. He's out at the top of the circle at the end of the move. The guy's 7 feet 9 inches tall, 800 pounds. He's of no use.
John, a lot of people just don't believe in the hook shot.
Well, that's why Benjamin will never be a
Now, why do you think that guys, for the most part, don't skate hook shots? I mean, you know, it's not like you've come up with this revelation.
Well,
Here's Anthony with a heave. Shot clock was running down.
If he hooked at it, would have been more fun anyway. I don't think coaches are teaching it. I can't blame it all on the players.
So the coaches are fault.
To some degree. Coach is, in general. I'm talking you have to go back before they get to the pros.
I think it's Commissioner David Stern, myself.
Yeah. This hook shot's no good. I know that.
Here's Starks for 3. John Starks with a 3-pointer. Knicks lead by 10. Barros able to recover. McKee. He thought he was pushed. No foul. Anthony lost it. Back comes Barros. Starks gets back down. Barros with the move. Oh, tough luck for the Sonics. Smith off that save attempt. Here's Starks. Oh, what a shot. John Starks whipping by Benoit Benjamin. And the Sonics will talk it over.
Rodney has a location problem.
No, Rodney actually getting the respect. First row seat. Not bad.
Maybe he doesn't realize it.
It'll be Seattle ball. We have 7:21 remaining in this first half. The Knicks with a 39-27 lead. The Knicks with a 19-6 run. And if you carry it further, 27-10. They've outscored the Sonics 27-10 to lead by 12 points. Shot clock at 6. Down to 3, McMillan.
I would say Pat Riley's very pleased with his guard defensive play.
Sonics opening up 6 of 9, and look at the poor shooting since then. 5 for their last 21. Starks for 3. Rebound handled by Johnson. And again, the Knicks get back. They have done that all night, and across the charge. Doc Rivers planting himself in front of Eddie Johnson.
Very aware defensive move by Doc Rivers. And as I mentioned a moment ago, the guards are playing excellent defense out top. Now, Marv, Blackman back in the game right now. I have to think he's feeling a little frustrated. He's taken out early. Starks is lighting it up, playing an excellent game. You know Orlando wants to grow into this starting role he's earned.
Yes, he attempted one shot early and did not hit. John Starks with an outstanding effort. Herb Williams stripped and fouled. And doesn't like the call. That's his second. Pat Riley now sending Patrick Ewing back for Herb Williams. Ewing got off to the terrific start, 16 points. For Ewing, 14 in the first quarter. That's Gary Payton, who just checked back in, as did Sean Kemp. And the Knicks have a backcourt of Rivers and Blackman. Well, they go 3 guards now. Rivers, Blackman, and Starks. Ewing rebounded by Pierce.
Patrick was well played on that by Benjamin, but he still took the shot.
And Benjamin hits. Not quite a hook shot, I would have to say. A turnaround one-hander, John?
Yeah. You got it.
Thank you. Starks comes right back. And the Knicks now lead 41-29.
Knicks are doing what the Sonics did so well in Seattle. When the other team scores, they were right down your throat.
Pierce battling for position. Starks was trying to draw the charge. Here's Blackman. Kept alive. Ewing with a beautiful pass. It won't count. The foul committed before the shot.
Mason thought the call was going against him, and he raced over to the official, and then it was learned by him that he got the foul in his area.
Kemp called for the foul as first. Starks on a quick release. John Starks is feeling it. 5 of 8, 11 points. Knicks lead by 14, and a 20-second timeout taken by the Seattle Supersonics. 5:09 remaining in this first half. This program is authorized by Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this event without the express written consent of Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated is prohibited.
Well, earlier tonight in the preliminary game, Grady High School, the school of Rolando Blackman, beat Tilden. And on Sunday, Rolando had the honor of having his number retired by Grady High School, and Rolando attended that ceremony. And Marv, you missed it. You were with the Jets.
Yes, I was. Grady Vocational High School in Brooklyn. Rolando Blackman, born in Panama, then family moved to the Brighton Beach section of Brooklyn. He attended Grady, on to Kansas State, All-American career, then to the Dallas Mavericks, and this season to his hometown ball club here in New York. Substitution for Seattle, Vincent Askew has come on for the first time. Kemp off a screen. Oakley with the rebound. Oakley back on the floor. Starks with it. He has scored the Knicks' last 9 points. Ewing off a double team pops it out to Rivers. Here's Blackman. Rebounded by Payton. Pierce looking for the 3. Beats Askew. Kemp. A lot of layups being blown by Seattle. Blackman able to hustle it down. Good save by Rolando. And a foul is called against the Sonics. It's on Johnson.
Seems that the Sonics have gone a bit flat since the Knicks took the momentum of this game midway through the first quarter. They're taking bad shots, not showing the patience they should have.
Yes, I would think George Karl will be a wild man. Halftime back in the locker room. Blackman for Ewing. And the Knicks lead 45-29. 18 points for Patrick Ewing.
What a lovely setup by Blackman on that penetrating move, which turned into a pass.
Johnson going left to the finger roll. And he will go to the line. That was held. Blackman called for the foul. Eddie Johnson to the line. Sonics with Johnson up front, along with Kemp and Askew, Payton, and Pierce in the backcourt. Small lineup being used by Seattle. Eddie Johnson his 12th NBA season out of Illinois. Spent 4 years with Kansas City, 2 with Sacramento, 3 with Phoenix. This is 3rd year with the Sonics.
He was the prime offender in Seattle against the Knicks with 28 points.
Oakley. Good rebound in traffic. Thought Rivers was at center court. Miscommunication. And Payton missed it. Rebound Askew, and he's fouled by Rivers. And Payton missed the shot because of the way he was defended by Starks. And the crowd applauding the effort of John Starks.
Charles Oakley wanted to crawl into a hole, but his teammates saved him. Starks on the great effort to deny that shot. Rivers right there to help and commit the foul. Charles can crawl out of the hole now and come back to all his teammates understood those things happen.
This is Vincent Askew, acquired from the Sacramento Kings last year, played for Golden State. Out of Memphis State. George Karl, very familiar with the play of Vincent Askew. Played for George in the CBA at Albany and was the most valuable player of the CBA in 1990 and 91. The Knicks lead by 12. 3.5 remaining. First half. Charles Smith has returned. Up front with Ewing and Oakley. Ewing bottled up by Kemp. It will be Nick Paul with 14 on the 24.
Knicks have done a good job containing Shawn Kemp, the leading scorer and leading rebounder of the Sonics.
As Kemp, 2 of 6 to this point. 4 points. Got off to the slow start in the game against the Knicks in Seattle. Shot clock at 5. Oakley is open. Pierce moves it down. Askew being played by Oakley. Pierce. Sonics are way off. Rivers try to hit Oakley. Seattle shooting only 32% in this first half. Timeout is taken with 2:50 remaining in the half.
Well, when you play the Seattle Supersonics, you know you're going to be into a battle in the front line. But the Dutch boy in the paint numbers show the Knicks dominating the front line, led by Patrick Ewing with 32 points. Now we'll take a look from our upper deck trading card, Sam, of good teamwork and passing ability by Rolando Blackman to Patrick Ewing.
2:45 remaining in the first half. Knicks by 12. Rivers for 3. Kemp involved with Smith. Foul called on Charles Smith. His first. Knicks now over the foul limit. There's Anthony Mason getting set to check back in. Kemp to the line. Talking about the 4 shooting by the Sonics. 32% for the half. And John in the second quarter, 2 of 18 from the floor and a host of bad shots. Look at that, since that good start at 6 of 9.
As mentioned earlier, this is the best shooting team from the field in the NBA coming in tonight at 49% normally.
And they've hit only 1 of their last 9. Knicks by 11. Smith being played by McKee. Ewing with the spin on a double team, rejected by McKee. Good play by Derek McKee coming over to help out.
Looked like a lot of contact on the shot effort by Ewing. No foul called. Patrick goes up. That looked like contact.
Here's Starks with the shot clock running down. And McKee is hit by Smith. Smith trying to strip him. So Derek McKee. Now check that. It's Mason on the foul. Apparently he got him first. And once again, the Sonics to the line.
It has been a long time, Marv, since Pat Riley has had the pleasure of seeing John Starks play this well. John shooting below 40% from the field this season, has not had the spectacular type moments this season as he had last year. But tonight he has meant a difference in many ways to the Knicks play here in the first half. He has been on his game. 11 points, 5 out of 9. I think that only tells half the story, but it's because it's his spirit that lifted this team.
Knicks by 10. Here's some pressure by Seattle. They have turned it on and off, and it's bothered the Knicks. Mason able to get it across. Oh, no foul ball. Here's Smith. Rebounded by Pierce. Pat Riley very upset that there was no call on that contact. Well, the Knicks get it back. Payton lost the grip.
Yes, I believe it was Ricky Pierce struggling with Doc Rivers for the basketball. Rivers took a considerable amount of contact.
Ewing setting up down low, flashing in the paint. Then Kemp was able to front him. Mason with the recovery. Starks for 3. Yes. Now they say a 2-pointer for John Starks. Knicks 47, Sonics 35. Offensive foul.
I think George Karl was unhappy before. He's really unhappy now.
It's called on Kemp, his second.
His assistant coach Bob Kloppenberg is setting a pick on George. He wants to get to the official. Kloppenberg's getting in front of him so he doesn't get a technical.
Trying to screen him from the official David Jones. Ewing again drawing the double team. Mason back for Ewing. And Pierce deflected it out. 4 on the 24. A minute 2 remaining in the half.
Mason was planted in the three-point zone, and that's what George Karl is screaming about as well.
22nd timeout called by the Knicks. George Karl continues the conversation with the officials who are not looking in his direction. After he took over the Sonics last January, they certainly turned it around. His return to the NBA had a dramatic impact on the Seattle Supersonics. Last February, in his first full month as coach, named Coach of the Month. One-time coach at Cleveland and Golden State. And then went to Spain, coached the Real Madrid club. 3-time Coach of the Year in the CBA. And the callers against the Knicks deflected out. So it will be Seattle ball. Sonics 2 of 18, a very crisp 11% from the field in the second quarter.
I could see where Pat Riley might think that the Knicks should be up by a lot more based on that shooting.
Pierce getting it over the outstretched arm of Ewing. Knicks by 10. Rivers played on the switch by McKee. Here's Mason. Yes. And it counts.
Now that's about as tough an assist as Doc Rivers will ever earn. Rivers trying to escape the long arms. Eddie Johnson falls down, but the ball gets where it was intended to go. And he gets an assist. Hard earned.
Askew called for the foul. Mason hoping to complete the three-point play. 35 seconds to go. First half. 7 points for Mason. The Knicks 50, the Sonics 37. Payton calling out a play. Kemp set a pick. Kemp picked up on the switch. Pierce fouled by Starks. Ricky Pierce to the line. That is the first committed by John Starks. Ricky Pierce among the leaders in free throw shooting. He is 45 of 48 from the line.
Close to 94%. One of the great scorers in the NBA. This man is a very interesting player. As we cite his excellent foul shooting, of course, which always seems to jinx the shooter. At 6'5", he's an amazing scorer, has the incredible ability to get off his jump shots game in and game out, no matter who is guarding him.
Knicks lead at 50-38. 15 seconds remaining second quarter. Askew staying in front of Rivers. Down to 10. Starks trying to work off the pick. Mason wide open. Ewing trying to save it.
Unbelievable. Mason denied Ewing.
1 2/10 seconds remaining of the half. Benjamin will throw in. Here's Payton with a two-hander. So the Knicks with a 50-38 lead on the Seattle Supersonics at halftime.
Well, you won't see a play like this for a long time. Mason stopped, then he gets in the way of Ewing. And Patrick and Mason can't work it out. That's a rare play.
I don't know, is Anthony hungry for block shots? Coming up, it'll be the MSG Sports Desk and then Alan Walt with a look at what took place in this first half. Thank you.
Back at the Garden where the Knicks lead the Sonics, a special presentation underway for the MetLife Nick of the Month. Mr. Harvey Young, Senior Vice President of MetLife.
To Patrick Ewing. In addition, MetLife will present a check in Patrick's name for $1,000 to Louise Wise Services. Congratulations, Patrick.
Patrick has been named the MetLife Nick of the Year in each of the past 4 seasons. In the first season of the month, he averaged 22.2 a game and 12.5 rebounds a game. Back to Marv Albert and John Andres for the start of the second half.
All right, Al, and the shooting, the story, or lack of shooting by the Seattle Supersonics, 13 for 38 from the field for the half, 33%. McKee was 1 for 8, and they were 3 of 20, John, in that second quarter. Knicks have had the edge off the boards. Patrick Ewing leading the way in that department.
Knicks had the edge in Seattle, too, but they shot poorly and lost that one. The assists, of course, impressive for the Knicks. Anytime you average 30, you'll get around that, and the Knicks are on pace to get perhaps 30 in the game if that continues. The Midas bench breakdown favoring the Knicks. Starks and Mason, they were the difference in the first half. Marv, you know what's shocking to me is the Knicks shooting 42%. The way they were playing the game and dominating the first half, you'd think that was a much higher percentage. That's a very deceptive, poor shooting for the Knicks in the first half.
20 of 48, just under 42%. They slipped in the final minute, scored only 20 points in the second quarter. Seattle with 15. Knicks lead by 12 as we get started in the third quarter. Blackman with a spin and then try to hit Oakley. Rolando has had a difficult night. Blackman in the first half 0 for 3 has not been in sync to this point. Knicks open with Rivers and Blackman in the backcourt. Smith, Ewing, and Oakley up front. Nate McMillan starting the second half for Seattle in the backcourt with Gary Payton and Ricky Pierce. 3-guard alignment for Seattle. Pierce, basket counts and a foul. Basket counts and apparently illegal defense called against the Knicks. Well, that's an unusual call where a guy hits a shot and illegal defense is called at the same time. So that's the warning on the Knicks, but the jump shot by Pierce is allowed.
A lot of unusual things tonight, Mark. Things that are throwing everybody off.
Speak for yourself, John. Loose ball foul on Charles Smith.
Knicks being hampered now by turnovers. Another subject which haunted them in Seattle when they had 20 in losing that game. They're now up to 13 in this game.
Matchup is Smith and Nate McMillan. This Cage. George Karl shuffling the lineup here at the start of the third quarter. And Seattle has cut it to an 8-point lead, 50-42.
I get the feeling George Karl convinced his team they could win this game. They have come out with fervor.
Rivers played by Kemp. Here's Blackman firing away. That's a three-pointer for Rolando Blackman. Knicks 53, Sonics 42. McMillan is rejected by Smith.
Rolando's shot was a reminder not to forget him.
Cage and Kemp are the two big men with the three-guard offense. McMillan behind the back to Kemp, who is hammered by Oakley.
That was a don't bring that stuff around here. Don't you try and jam on us. Oakley and Ewing combining to deny Kemp that intended, clearly intended, dynamite slam dunk.
Well, it's called a flagrant foul on Oakley. So Kemp will shoot the two, and then possession for the Sonics.
You see, the problem is Charles can't get up that high. He's not a leaper. And I didn't get a good glance at it, Marv, but perhaps he was at the top of his jump, and it looked like he was going for Kemp's body, but he was just unable to get up that high. Let's take another look at this now. Charles Oakley comes in, and I think Charles was horizontal as opposed to vertical. That did look flagrant.
Yes. It's a good call in an effort to try to keep the rough stuff out of the game. Here's Kemp. And the Knicks now lead 53-46.
Knicks have to do some catch-up now as far as offensive efficiency. Seattle's shooting well now.
And back comes McMillan. Payton for threes. And Kemp squeezing through three Knicks. Feeding Cage. Cage thought he was fouled and may have had a point. Took a shot on the top of the head. Rivers with the recovery, finding Ewing. And he's hacked by Kemp. And Ewing took a pretty good shot. And now the crowd looking for a flagrant at the other end. But that was all part of Kemp contesting the shot.
So the look at it now as Doc Rivers gets that ball up to Ewing. He wants to go the slam dunk route. Patrick takes a shot. Another look at it from under the basket. Patrick going in, insisting on the slam dunk. So many times that's costly instead of going up and protecting that ball with your body and making the layup off the backboard.
Ewing 9 of 10 from the line.
Well, I noticed David Jones, the official, letting a lot of contact play go around half court when the guards are being challenged for the ball. A lot of rough stuff. It's not being called as you're used to seeing it happen.
Knicks lead 55-46. Is that a critical comment in the direction of David Jones?
I just noting his allowing physical play by the guard.
Nice move by Pierce. The Knicks by 7. Knicks have led by as many as 16. 3 minutes gone by in the third quarter. Smith and Pierce involved. And Pierce called on the foul. George Karl is staying with a series of mismatches that have developed here in the third quarter. And with the smaller lineup, Sonics getting right back into it. Rivers, yes. Knicks lead 57-48. And Pat Riley has not made any substitutions to adjust to what the Sonics are doing. He feels that the Knicks will get the better of play eventually with the mismatches. Here's Payton. Knicks lead 57-50.
That fake by Payton took Ewing right out of the play. Patrick always wanting to block the shot, block the jump shot, but he takes himself out.
With these matchups, the Sonics have outscored the Knicks 12-7 here in the third. Ewing. And the Knicks now lead 59-50.
The Knicks defensive transition is being challenged now.
Rivers with a steal, and he's pushed by Payton. Well, that time, David Jones with the call around center court.
Knicks getting back in transition quickly denied the Sonics. And Peyton rocks Doc Rivers.
Knicks with the ball. They have a 9-point lead. Rivers drawing a double team. Ewing. Cage with the rebound. Now Pierce being played by Smith. And Pierce hits the deck. He wanted a call, did not get it.
What a great shot.
The Knicks lead is 7. 12 points for Pierce. He is the high man for the Sonics. Blackman with the step. Rebound Oakley. And he was fouled. Foul in the act, so he'll go to the line. Kemp called for his 4th foul.
Major problem for him. You'll see many games Sean Kemp will play 25 minutes, 5 fouls, 30 minutes foul out. He's really got foul problems. With his aggressiveness and quickness, it turns against him. But you know, Marv, it looks to me like the Seattle Supersonics are not going to duplicate their first half play. They're coming out looking like a different team.
They shot 3 of 20 in the second quarter. Charles Oakley making a rare visit to the foul line. That is only his 16th free throw of the season, and he's managed to convert on only 50% from the line. Knicks 60, the Sonics 52.
That's in over 400 minutes of play for Oakley.
But it shows the lack of offense by Charles. Doesn't have the ball that much in the front court. Oakley with the rebound. And Charles, normally a pretty decent free throw shooter. Smith played by McMillan. Almost every matchup. Blackman called for the offensive foul. Won't count. A series of mismatches on the floor. Seattle is staying with him. They're down by 8. Now the Knicks calling for the timeout. 6:55 left in the third. Lost 4. George Karl and his club opening the season by playing in Japan once again. The NBA starting out with a series of games in Japan. It was Seattle going up against Houston in regular season play, and Seattle won both games against the Rockets in Japan. Recall the complaints last year between Utah and Phoenix when they felt the travel problems contributed to a slow start. Starks called for the foul. John Starks checking in just a moment ago. No complaints, though, by the Sonics. They took 2 out of 2 from Houston. And actually, the Rockets have had a decent year, even with the 2 losses. In Japan, they have won 8 and lost 6 here at the start of the season.
Yes, all their problems with Olajuwon have been cleared up, it seems.
Starks with the steal. And it is deflected out. Last touch by Starks. The Knicks 60 and the Sonics 52. 6:20 remaining in the third. And a foul has been called on Starks. John committing his third. Patrick Ewing with some words for John Starks. Starks supplying the spark when he came out of the first quarter. Very dull start to this ball game. Both clubs seemed to be flat. And then the Knicks came on when they went to the bench. The Sonic shooting was way off in the first half. Good defense by the Knicks. They led by as many as 16. Right now, they lead by 8.
McMillan with a big job on the much taller Charles Smith inside.
Here's Rivers. And the tip missed. Kemp with the rebound. Peyton played by Rivers. Fires. That was short. Rivers with the one-hop for Smith. Smith will go to the line. Foul by Peyton. Sonics go over the foul limit. Pat Riley now sending on Anthony Mason for Charles Oakley. Leads with 3 points and 5 rebounds.
Very impressive stat line for Charles Smith in the first half. Despite playing 20 minutes, he only got 6 shots, but made 4 of them. 5 rebounds, but 4 big assists to lead the Knicks in that department.
Charles Smith with a career-high tying 6 assists Saturday against Milwaukee. His passing has impressed the Knicks. Doc Rivers said the other day, Charles didn't pass like that when we were with the Los Angeles Clippers. He said if he did, I would have scored 20 points a game.
Charles also said, I wasn't happy out there. And you know, when you're not happy, you tend to go for your own stats.
And he was also involved with playing for a new contract. And he was looking for the points. Not the case here with the Knicks. Payton going with a good touch. He's 5 of 10, 10 points.
Payton stuck on Charles Smith now.
Starks for 3. Rebound Ewing. Starks off the feed from Ewing. Rebound Smith.
You know what's impressive about that? His hands. His hands got on that ball and they stayed there.
Knicks by 10. McKee, air ball handled by Mason. Knicks seem to have the rhythm back. Good ball movement. They lead by 10. 4.5 remaining in the third. Ewing from way out. Not a good shot.
Offense came to a standstill.
Ewing is now 6 of 17. This after the good start.
3 seconds.
Shot clock down to 5.
Rivers moved those feet.
And Rivers called for the foul for Doc, his second.
I think his defense has been outstanding tonight. Moving those feet. Payton's a quick guy, much younger than him, and he stayed right with him. It's very difficult for the Seattle guards to get around the Knicks guards when Seattle's on offense.
Gary Payton, a player who had shown flashes of brilliance his first couple of years in the league. Also flashes of negative play. Shooting disappointing. But suddenly this year it has gone right for Gary Payton. As we mentioned right at the start, he's a player who the Sonics were looking to deal. Couldn't make the proper trade. Michael Cage handling that air ball. And now Gary Payton so instrumental in this strong start by Seattle.
Well, you know, Marv, every rookie comes into the league wants to start.
Traveling violation.
The unorthodox style of Sean Kemp. This guy is a stylist all to himself. Working in on Ewing. Such mobility, but he takes a big step forward. You know, Patrick Ewing makes moves like that, and they don't get called for traveling, and he skips across the middle. But back to Gary Payton. He started every game as a rookie. 82 starts for him. It was tough for him to get used to the NBA and be at his best, which has slowly happened now in his 3rd season.
Also a little attitude problem that was involved. Gary thought that he was one of the all-time before he had done very much, and players resented that, and apparently he has pulled it back a bit.
He came into the league as a tough guy, as a stopper, as one of the best defenders in NCAA history. He was known as a guy who would nail down any scorer. Well, that doesn't happen overnight in the NBA, as he grew to find.
McKee called for the foul. Patrick Ewing has 23 points, 11 of 12, as you see, at the free throw line. That'll help improve that 64% free throw shooting. Patrick coming in at 64% from the line. Kemp with the rebound. Knicks lead 65-56, 3:20 remaining in the third. Marv Albert, John Andres, Al Troutwick, Walt, Clyde Frazier from the guard. Ewing picks up his second. Eddie Johnson will come on. Both teams are over the foul limit. Kemp to the free throw line. Here's Johnson replacing Pierce. Ricky Pierce with 12. The high men of the game, Payton and Pierce with 12. Ewing has 23. Starks with 13. And Smith has 12.
Talking about fouls before, personal fouls. Sean Kemp, 5 fouls in each of the last 3 games, and the 4th game he had 6 fouls. In only one of those games he played close to 30 minutes. The others were under 30.
Kemp has 10 points. They double up on Mason. Starks with the step to the reverse. Mason is right there. Knicks lead by 10. 9 points for Mason. Oh, the rejection. Offensive foul as Charles Smith came up with the rejection. McKee was called for the charge. Timeout taken with 2:51 remaining. 3rd quarter. Spending much time at the foul line. He's 13 of 15 from the line. Knicks shooting only 5 of 14 here in the 3rd. Seattle has picked it up after the brutal shooting 2nd quarter. Knicks with a 10-point advantage. Johnson. Well, the Knicks do not want to see that man get on a tear.
You can't leave him open when he is 1 pass away from the ball.
Knicks lead 69-61. Smith's pass broken up, but able to recapture and hit. Knicks by 10. And an outstanding all-around game once again for Charles Smith. Johnson played by Starks. Johnson lost it. Mason for Starks. Back the other way for Mason. Extraordinary play in traffic. He was actually contesting for that pass with his teammate Patrick Ewing. The Knicks open up a 12-point lead. 45 seconds left in the 3rd. Eddie Johnson looking for the shots. Rebounded by Mason, and he was fouled. Now, apparently it was knocked out of bounds by Seattle. No foul called. Nate McMillan returns. Coming on for Michael Cage. Half-minute left in the 3rd.
Knicks are up 12 at the half, and that's where they are right now. They've withstood the good surge by Seattle.
Smith. Yes. Charles Smith putting on a jump shooting exhibition. He has 16, and the Knicks extend to a 14-point lead. Down to 10 seconds remaining in this 3rd quarter. Barros back on the floor, looking for the shot. Try to whip by Ewing, and that is it. That's the end of the 3rd. The Knicks finish up with an 8-2 run, and after 3, they lead the Sonics 75-61.
I just want to know, why do they continue to go away from Shaquille O'Neal? When they go into O'Neal and they cut, they've been getting good shots. It's when they try to go to all of this perimeter stuff. Right now, Anderson is 3 for 10. Dennis Scott 2 for 5. Both guys are struggling. Catch the ball with 2 hands. Catch the basketball with 2 hands.
See, Brown tries to clean it up with a jump shot. O'Neal in double figures already with 10 points to go along with his. So he has yet another double-double.
Right now,
Remember, when you're having good times with friends, use good sense and drink responsibly, because friends know when to say when. A reminder from Budweiser.
Strong finish by the Knicks in the final stages of the 3rd quarter. 8-2 run to close it out, and they lead 75-61 as we get started in the 4th quarter. Barros beating Ewing at the baseline, but he stepped out, and it will be Nick Ball. The Knicks with a backcourt of Anthony and Starks, Mason, Smith, and Ewing up front. Once again, much playing time for Charles Smith, who had a season-high 40 minutes against the Bucks on Saturday. McMillan got a piece of it. Here's McMillan. Knicks now lead 75-63.
Greg Anthony a little careless with his passing of the basketball. Had that one thrown away.
Anthony guarded by Barros. Opening minute of play. Fourth quarter. Another sellout crowd on hand at the Garden. 19,763. Ewing is fouled by Benjamin. For the Knicks, this their 9th home game. All 9 have been sellouts. Knicks back here Thursday to go up against the Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte, record of 9-8. They're third in the Central. It's their best start ever. And Larry Johnson averaging 21 per game. Alonzo Mourning about 17 per game.
That's the feature match of the evening, Marv. Georgetown, veteran.
Yes.
The man we're looking at now against the rookie. And there is good feeling between those two. Let's see what happens when it's for all the marbles.
Yeah, they have worked out during the off-season the last couple of years. And they have developed a very close relationship.
I don't think Alonzo lacks the confidence either. He came into the NBA with a burst.
In fact, some of his teammates not delighted with the number of shots that he has taken from time to time. Charles Smith called for his third.
But they're delighted with the number of shot rejections he's brought to that team that missed that quality through the years.
Nice pass from Barros. Benjamin could not hit. Well, Anthony Mason puts behind the back in very casual fashion. And the foul called on McMillan, who got caught against Ewing. Charles Oakley back for Charles Smith, who hears it from the crowd. Another strong effort for Charles Smith, who admitted the other day he was not in proper shape when the season got underway. Certainly in training camp. Took a while, did not look sharp at the start, but he has come on strong. Knicks have a 13-point lead. Minute and a half gone by in the fourth. Ewing from deep, throwing a missile up. Patrick Ewing is 6 for 18, yet he has had a strong game. He's been a major presence, spending a lot of time at the line. He's done it off the boards. McKee for 3. And it's Ewing with his 14th rebound, but it's stolen by McMillan. Here's Barros for the three-pointer. And Ewing again. Starks for Mason. Mason out, blowing a second consecutive layup. Now that's rare for Anthony Mason. Knicks with a 13-point lead. And Johnson called for the travel. Changed his mind as he looked to make a move. Herb Williams replacing Patrick Ewing. 26 points, 15 rebounds for Ewing. Ricky Pierce is back. Many changes by the Sonics. Vincent Askew reports back in, as does Sean Kemp. Anthony and Starks in the backcourt. Williams up front with Oakley and Mason. That's a 3 for Starks. His second from downtown tonight. He has 16. George Karl calling for time. The Knicks have matched their biggest lead of the game, a margin of 16. Chuck, coach at Fordham. They have a game upcoming against St. John's on Thursday. Brian Washington of the New York Jets coming off the emotional victory on Sunday in Buffalo. Pierce with the layup, and the Knicks now lead 79-65.
Pierce rendered John Starks motionless on that move.
Mason drawing triple coverage, got it out to Starks. And Pierce called for the offensive foul.
wants an explanation now. Big axe by Greg Anthony worked. The contact was there, but it seemed incidental to the reaction that Anthony showed.
Anthony putting the fake on and then drilling it home. That's his first field goal. Knicks 81 and the Sonics 65.
Oh, Starks wrapped around Ricky Pierce. No foul on that.
Askew gives it up to Kemp. So Kemp has 12. He sat a while with the foul problem. Starks to the reverse. Well, I don't know if that will be appreciated.
He didn't have to do that. He wanted to make something special out of that. At the other end, Dana Barros does.
Yeah, John Starks had the clear path, and a simple drive layup or stuff would have done it, but he tried to get tricky, and that's what gets Pat Riley crazy.
Well, that's what you would have done in that situation.
I would have got it straight to the hoop. And stuff. No question. Here's Mason, rejected by Kemp.
Look at Kemp.
McMillan with Starks back. Took the hit. And it's an offensive foul. Good play defensively by Starks.
Sean Kemp out of nowhere. Rejection at the other end. John Starks makes up for that last play. Starks does not fear physical play at all.
Knicks lead at 81-69. 5 minutes gone by in the fourth. Mason played by Askew. Starks with the step to the reverse. That time, the reverse needed. And Starks able to connect. Barros for 3. Mason had it knocked away. Williams on the recovery. Seattle 1 of 9 in the three-point field goal shooting department. Herb Williams.
Lovely pass by Starks.
Knicks with an 85-69 lead. Tom, let me ask you a question as you see the foul call on Barros' drive attempt. When you were on the court as a Ram of Fordham, when one of your backcourt men would throw you a nice pass, would you say lovely pass to the guy?
Always, Marv, but it didn't happen often.
Fitz is a color commentator. I'm just curious. As a player, I don't see Oakley saying lovely pass to somebody. You know?
Lovely move by Ricky Pierce.
Yes. And the Knicks now lead 85-71. 6 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Not a lovely pass by Greg Anthony. Ewing and Smith will check back in just a moment. Knicks have a 14-point lead. They have led most of the way, leading by as many as 16.
Actually, Marv, I think when you're on the court, it's a nice pass. Good pass.
A rejection by Williams, who has the long arms. I think he stopped that one about elbow length. Crowd very much into it now. However, McMillan with the steal now feeds Payton. Here's Pierce. Askew with the rebound. Stopped by Williams. And the crowd chanting for Herb Williams.
They've adopted Herb.
And Herb Williams hearing the applause as he sits down.
You know, one of the writers recently made a comment that Herb Williams doesn't deserve this kind of being singled out rather by the crowd. Usually has gone to the last guy on the bench. He's better than that. But I think also there's admiration for Herb Williams too.
I think it's more, as Peyton has found, more of a respectful chant. It may have begun as that. I believe it was Mike Lupick in the New York Daily News who made the point. And I have to agree, you know, you're not talking about a guy coming off the end of the bench like a Henry Finkel or Greg Butler. It may have begun in that manner, but I think it has become more respectful as fans have realized that this is a quality guy coming off the bench.
Of course, that's our interpretation of it. We may be wrong.
Yes.
No, but the fans have taken note of Herb Williams, and with good reason, because he is giving his team very solid play when he's on the court.
Off the steal, Askew cuts it to a 10-point Knick lead. Again, the pressure by Seattle. Starks for Ewing. Patrick Ewing with a gorgeous move, eluding Sean Kemp. Knicks lead 87-75. Askew backing Starks. Now Gerald Patio, who just checked in, fires one up. Rebounded by Starks. Patio, another player, likes to shoot from long range. George Karl looking for the offensive weapons. It has not been a good shooting night for the Sonics. Ewing, yes. Fadeaway pop by Ewing, who has regained the touch. 30 points for Patrick Ewing, along with 15 rebounds. So that ties Ewing's season high at 30 against Minnesota. Ewing with a block, stopping Kemp.
And he kept it.
Starts with the fake around Patio. And he's called for the offensive foul. That block by Ewing, his second of the season. John, he got off to a slow start in the rejection column, as you see him stifle Sean Kemp, but said the ankle injury that he was trying to shake off at the start of the year may have had something to do with it.
No one can reject that excuse. That's legitimate.
Off the steal, 3-on-2. Ewing knocks it knocked away, but then recovers. Greg Anthony slow to get up, and obviously hurt his back. Greg Anthony hurt. Knick trainer Mike Saunders out to take a look. The Sonics take a timeout with 3:25 remaining in the fourth.
Bob Page with an update from Orlando. Closing seconds in the first half. Celtics down 1. Reggie Lewis to Kevin Gamble. It's good. The desperation heave puts Boston up by 4 at intermission. The lead now 7 in the third quarter.
All right, Bob, and as we return to the action, Sean Kemp with a power stuff. Greg Anthony apparently all right after hurting his lower back. Able to hang in there. Now facing double team. Smith for Ewing. And he's fouled. Ewing driving off the double team. Kemp collects his 5th. And Patrick Ewing to the free throw line.
The more his teammates play with him, members of the front line on the Knicks will appreciate Charles Smith's play. Poor cameraman took a shot on that play. Dom Spada will be back, and he is back. Dom can shoot a foul when the action goes to the other end, Marv. He can run out and take a foul shot.
And Patrick Ewing is 15 for 19 from the line. 33 points, season high for Patrick. The Knicks lead 92-77. 2:50 remaining in the fourth. Here's Barros. So Dana Barros, 4-year player from Boston College, able to hit on his second field goal. He has 4 points. Again, pressure by Seattle. Starks for Smith, played by Barros. Smith going glass. What a beautiful touch consistently all night long for Charles Smith. He now has 18 points.
You just don't see jump shooters use the backboard like Charles Smith is doing for the Knicks. You know, just immediately do a flashback to Sam Jones and the Boston Celtics.
Oh, Barrows getting it up high on the scoop. Well, John, Charles Smith would be your perfect player if he could hook off the glass.
I think you're right, Mark. Would I love to see that?
Knicks lead 94-81. Here is Smith again. 20 points for Smith. 9 for 11 shooting. The Knicks by 15. Barrows went to the right hand, switching on the dribble. And it was last touched by Barrows.
Well, Marv, as the Seattle Supersonics begin their 4 games in 5 nights Eastern road trip, they're getting a taste of the Knicks defense they did not see in Seattle. This is the team that comes in as the 3rd leading scoring team in the NBA at over 112 a game, and they're a long ways away.
And shooting 49%, which is best in the league. Pretty pass from Ewing. Mason extends to a 17-point Knicks lead. It's their biggest lead of the night. Askew with the feed. Kemp is fouled. And a very difficult schedule coming up for the Supersonics. Mason on that foul. Tomorrow they'll play at Philly, then at Boston on Friday. Saturday at Cleveland. Difficult because it is on the road, and it's 4 games in 5 nights. Certainly the Sixers have had their difficulties. They've lost 7 in a row. Boston showing some signs of turning things after the bad start. The Knicks home for Charlotte on Thursday, and Saturday home for Detroit as this homestand continues. The Knicks on their way to making it 9-0 at Madison Square Garden. We approach 1 minute remaining in the game. Mason. Well, Kemp stayed away, and Mason took advantage. 100-83 the score. Mason has 15. Ewing with 33. Smith with 20. Starks with 18. Mason with 15 points. Here's Kemp. It counts, and the foul. But Sean Kemp has not been a factor. Very quiet ball game for Kemp in the foul trouble earlier. He now has 18 points, 11 rebounds. Sounds good, but has not put a stamp on this point. Herb Williams now for Patrick Ewing, and Ewing receives a hand. 33 points, 16 rebounds, 2 block shots for Ewing.
Good warm-up for Alonzo Mourning. The Knicks league leading defense now on the verge of holding a team at 91 again.
Starks able to recover, goes behind the back, but McMillan picks it off. And that is a traveling violation called on Patio. Turnover number 26 for Seattle. Knicks with 21.
Knicks have 100, so the cheering must be for Herb.
Yes, it is. Now, that's disrespectful, cheering for Herb Williams.
Are you saying the fans are misguided, misled?
Yes, I am in that case. Here's Patio. And the Knicks lead 100-88. Fans looking to humor themselves here in the final seconds. So the Knicks defeat the Seattle Supersonics by the score of 100-88. They make it 9-0 at home. A record of 11-6. And for the moment, they move 1 game in front of the Nets, who are trailing Phoenix. Orlando is trailing Boston. Right now, they're a game and a half in front of the Magic. And Seattle sees a 3-game win streak stop. They drop to 11-5. We'll be back in a moment.
for their confidence for some of the players off the bench as we welcome you back inside to Madison Square Garden. Knicks really had their way for most of this game tonight. They withstood a brief flurry by the Seattle Supersonics in the third quarter, but overcame that and controlled things the rest of the way. Not to be remembered as one of the cleanest games the Knicks will play, but the Seattle Supersonics did put tremendous pressure on the ball all night defensively, and it was remarkable how at times the Knicks were able to overcome that. Right now we'll have the leading scorer summary to show you who scored how many. It's brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. Great night. To a standing ovation, Patrick Ewing left this game with 33 points, 9 of 21 from the floor, and 16 rebounds. Charles Smith continues to enjoy his starting role, 20 points, 7 rebounds. John Starks, 18 points off the bench. Anthony Mason with 15 major contributions from those two again. As for the Seattle Supersonics, here is their story. Leading the way with 19 points with Sean Kemp, but he was relatively quiet, although that is right at his average. 12 rebounds to go with that. Also, Gary Payton with 16 points. Ricky Pierce with 16 as well. Pierce 7 of 14. Payton 6 of 11. After that, single digits included in that Eddie Johnson. Now remember, coming in, the Sonics had 7 players averaging in double figures. Not tonight. Patrick Ewing with an important move and a hoop. Knicks over the Seattle Supersonics by the score of 100-88. The Knicks defense holding the Sonics to only 15 points back in the second quarter. That's really when they took control. Sonics put up a rush in the third. Knicks held them off and cruised to victory tonight. The Coca-Cola Classic Player of the Game is brought to you by Coca-Cola Classic. Enjoy all the Knicks excitement with Coca-Cola Classic. Can't beat the real thing. Couldn't beat Patrick Ewing tonight either. 33 points, 16 rebounds. Patrick rejecting a couple of shots and doing it running the floor as well. John Starks looking behind him, and Patrick was there with a little move to boot. Let's go to Pat Riley.
Playing extremely well right now together, and to me that was the game because of how they play. You know, it's a big team he started with, a very active, very athletic team, and you know, save for a number of layups that they missed in the first half on second shots, I thought we dominated the inside play, and that's what, you know, led us to this to the win. Any questions?
Starks came off the bench.
He gave us a nice lift. You know, John's been struggling a little bit, you know, throughout the season with his shot, but he never stops playing hard. And he gave us a nice lift with his drives to the basket, you know. And so one thing that's different with John's game this year and last year, about 6 weeks into the season last year, he was over 50%. He was one of our highest producers, plus minus. And one of the reasons was there were more rebounds, there were more layups, there were more free throws. His game was a little bit different, and he's trying to get back to that right now. So the thing I like about John is that he stepped up and took 2 or 3 charges too. He gets in front of the driver, so that's the Starks that we want to see.
Is there an aura of invincibility building around this home court at this point?
Bullshit. I say that, okay, stop it, okay? You know, as soon as you start thinking, excuse me, I'm sorry I said that, but, you know, I mean, I could see it tomorrow, okay? No, I think we're a little bit ripe, as a matter of fact. I thought we played hard, but I didn't like the concentration and focus against their pressure. I thought at times we were a little bit sloppy. And so, you know, we're winning at home, but we cannot, you know, take anything for granted here, and you don't want to hear that.
In the second half, they went small to combat you, right? I mean, you just think you could use that as an advantage? I mean, it was like they try to turn it into an advantage.
Well, that's a normal rotation for George. You know, he will play big, and then somewhere in the course of the game, anywhere, he will go down. And you know, play 4 guards or whatever. It doesn't make any difference. He'll switch everything and hope to catch you, but you know, we did a pretty good job against them. They're a hard team to play offense against because they take you out of everything. They take you out of your first and second options because of all of their switches. And what it leaves you with are mismatches, and then what you do is you find yourself staring into the mismatch, and they're butt-fronting that, and you find yourself standing around instead of just attacking. So they're very disruptive as a defensive team.
Why was Patrick so successful getting the line?
Well, a lot of the post-ups came on mismatches, and they were overly aggressive with their fronts because they were smaller on him. He took the ball to the basket about 4 or 5 times, I think, very strong. And, you know, his overall play the last couple of weeks has just has been way up. And field goal percentage is up, his overall free throw percentage is up, his rebound. So everything is back, you know, to where it was. He had about 3 weeks maybe where he was a little bit slow off to the start, but he's regained that.
Pat, do you feel Rolando is struggling a bit?
Well, you know, we're trying to get Rowe and Charles into the offense early, and we worked the last couple of days on getting him things, but they do switch a lot early. And we ran 3 or 4 things for him early in the period, and they take that away, and then he's left with the ball in the ISO or something. But he's going to be okay. You know, I don't have any overall concerns about that. He'll find his rhythm. He'll find his shots. Right now, he's being very unselfish. You know, we just have to keep working to try to find him more shots.
You came with the start.
The Coaches Conference is brought to you by Air France. Ask the world of us. Meanwhile, Pat Riley talking about some sloppiness. That is not to be the topic of Live from the Play-by-Play with Mike Francesa still to come. Spike Lee, Nick McCarchick, head coach at Fordham, Danny Gerard, and Brian Washington, one of the heroes of that big Jet victory on Sunday. Much more to come, however, as we continue post-game from the Garden.